morning, early years. Today we are going to look at rolling. So when we're rolling an object, we can do this either on grass, we can do it inside, on a carpet or on wooden floor, or you can do it on a patio or decking on the driveway. So whatever you've got convenient and available, just make sure you have a bit of space either side of you. We firstly need to make sure we've got the right sort of stance. So we have one foot in front of the other, and we need to get nice and low. When we're rolling an object, it goes along the floor rather than through the air. So if I was going to be rolling, I roll with my right hand, so I'll put my left foot forward. Try both ways round it, so then try with your left hand and your right foot forward. And it's very, very simple. So step forward, we're going to bend our knees to get nice and low, and our arm comes back, and then we push forward. And as we release, we push off of our fingertips. So we don't hold that object really tight, we're going to just push it off of the fingertips. So all I want you to do to start with, before we start using any objects that I'll go through in a moment, I want you to just practice standing with one foot in front of the other, bending your knees, swinging your arm back and push forward. When you're pushing forward, you need to get your arm nice and low because we want the object to go along the floor. So I'm going to swing my arm back and push forward. If you're on the grass, see if you can brush the top of the grass. So you might be able to see this. As my arm comes back, I brush across the top of the grass and I push forward. Where your hand and your arm end up is where the object will end up. It might well be straight in front of you, but if I do this, it's going to go off to that side, okay? So it's really important that we get nice and low and we push with our arm forward. Have a few goes on one side, then swap legs. Okay, then I'm going to use my other hand. I'm going to get low, I'm going to pull back and push forwards. Same again. I'm going to pull my arm back, brush the grass and push forwards. Practice a few times without anything, just getting that angle of low and pushing forward along the floor or the patio or the grass. And then we're going to introduce some objects and you're going to have a go. I'm going to show you now some different things that you could use. So for this challenge or this practice, you could use a variety of things. I've got a big bouncy ball here, so just a nice, easy, lightweight ball. I've got a pair of socks that are just rolled up into a ball. I've got a tennis ball, and I've also got a bottle of old squash, okay, that you could use. Now, when we're looking at rolling, ideally you're going to start with something small like a tennis ball or a pair of socks. So like I said, I'm going to start with something small and I'm going to start with the tennis ball, but if you haven't got a tennis ball or a cricket ball or a rounders ball or any type of bouncy ball, you could just use a pair of socks. And all you're going to practice doing is you're going to have that one foot in front of the other, holding it in your fingertips. You're going to bend down, low, roll, push the ball forwards. Now, if you can do it against a wall or something so it bounces back at you, perfect. If you haven't got that, just practice rolling into a space. So if I was to do it with my other hand, I'm going to roll it onto the grass, I have one foot in front of the other, I bend down nice and low and I push the ball forwards. It doesn't matter whether you're doing it on grass or a patio or inside, just making sure that same action of bending down nice and low and push forward. So this time I'm going to show you with the socks. Let me just make them into a bit more of a ball. Okay, so I'm going to bend down nice and low, roll and push it forwards. Have a go a few times, try a few different objects. Go and get the tennis ball each time if it won't come back to you, but like I say, if you can do it against a wall where it'll bounce back, it makes it even easier. So I've just gone and got my tennis ball. I'm going to bend down nice and low. I'm going to practice pushing that ball along the floor so it bounces back. Have 4 or 5 goes on one hand, then I'm going to swap arms. I'm going to bend low, push, and it come back to me. If you haven't got a ball or a smaller one, like I said at the start, you could use a bigger ball or something like a drinks bottle. So if I'm using a bigger ball, it's the same, but you might need to have more than one hand on to support it. So I'm going to have one foot in front of the other. I'm still going to get nice and low and I push it towards and it will come back to me. Okay, nice and low, bend down low, swing your arm back and push forwards. I've lost that one, so I'm going to use a football. So I'm going to swap sides. I'm going to try it with my other hand. Get nice and low, swing back and push it forward. Remember, as you push forward, it comes off your fingertips, not off of your hand. So watch, it's in my fingertips. I'm going to get low, support the ball and swing it forward. Like I said, you can also, if you haven't got a ball at all, use something like an old bottle or an old tin or a water drinks bottle. Exactly the same, hold it in your fingertips, get nice and low and practice rolling it along the floor. Okay, it probably won't bounce back at you, but you can still get that same action and movement. I'm going to go back to using my tennis ball, but this time I've set up some targets. So I've used just a carrier bag. You just lie it on the floor. So I've got one set up here and then one bag for life just here that is just lying on the grass. And this time what I'm going to aim to do is, as I roll the ball, I'm going to see if I can get it to land on one of the bags. So I set myself up, bend down, nice and low, roll and push that ball, and it just rolled over. I'm on a slight hill here, so if I was to do it now the other way, if I bring the bags up to here, it might work a bit better. So I've set the bags out. I'm going to stand back a little way from them, get nice and low, roll the ball, and it lands on that first bag. Have a few goes. Give the points to each bag that you get to, and see, next time I might see if I can get it to land in the gap here in between. So I'm going to come back, step down nice and low, just gently push, and I've thrown it too hard, or rolled it, sorry, too hard. So make sure that your arm is coming back, but you're only going to very gently push forward and it's landed in that gap in between. Like I said, you can use these bags as targets, but also to start with, just target and use the wall as a target. So you're going to use that ball, get nice and low, bring it on back and forwards. Once you've had a few goes, if you want to challenge yourself, you could get some circles. So you can either draw some circles if you've got some chalk, or find anything circular and try and roll the ball to land in that circle. Okay, so we're now going to have a bit of a challenge where you're going to try and get your object to roll on land in a circle. Now, the tennis racket, it may be a bit tricky because it's got quite a little bit of an edge, but it's just an idea of something that you could use. If you've got a hula hoop, you could use it, or you could just draw the circles yourself, or you could get really creative and using a scarf or some socks, you could make a circle. So I'm going to remove my tennis racket. I'm just going to show you, if I use the socks and then I get a scarf and I make it round into a circle. Okay, I've got one circle here and one here. However you can make a circle, it's up to you. You might want to get some trousers and lie them around, especially if you're inside. If you're outside, maybe get some bags and roll them up and you can spread them round. So I'm going to start off with my homemade circle of scarves and socks, holding the ball in my fingertips. I'm going to bend down nice and low, just roll and try and get it to land in the circle. Nice and easy, because I had a flatter edge. So you want to keep it as flat as you can, and we'll try again, see if I can get it to land right in the middle. So I'm going to roll, ooh, and it's bounced back because there was a top edge, and that's fine. This time I'm going to try it in my hula hoop, and it's got a harder edge to go from. So I'm going to bend nice and low, and push, and it just bounces over and in. Have a go. See where you can get yours into. You might want to set up a load of circles and challenge either a brother, a sister, or a parent, and see how quickly you can get it in, or just time yourself at how quickly or how many times round you can get the ball into each hoop in a minute. Have fun, guys, and I'll see you again on Wednesday.